What's up YouTube? It's your boy Wanna Be Native, and this is going to be a video response to my previous video, Communication Difficulties. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and go back and watch it. That video was a little amusing. This video is going to be substantially less amusing because I'm going to be teaching you the Hebrew phrases that were in that video and some new ones that I have found useful. So stay tuned. The story of that video was learn the language. Learn the language before you go to that country. Learn the language before you try to speak to someone of that native tongue in the marketplace. Learn the language before you make all-around fool of yourself in real life. So that was the moral of the story. You saw my friend, some of you might know him as Caden the Awesome Kid, trying to speak Hebrew, which he didn't know, but he spoke it out of the book. And here on Wanna Be Native's channel, we all want to be able to communicate with natives in a way that's not distracting. They're not focusing on, wow, he has a terrible accent. I can't understand a word that he's saying. We want them to focus on what we're saying and not how we're saying it. So, let's get started on the communication difficulty phrases. So the first phrase that was used in that video is Caden the Awesome Kid asked me if I spoke English, which was funny because we were already speaking English. But the Hebrew words for do you speak English, the Hebrew phrase is Ata medaber anglit. This phrase is obviously useful for being in a situation where everyone around you is speaking Hebrew. So you can go around saying Ata medaber anglit, Ata medaber anglit. And hopefully someone answers you yes, in English. The second phrase is, I don't speak much Hebrew. So this is very useful if you have already started a conversation with a native Hebrew speaker and you use the ambassador conversation, you know, hi, how are you, what's your name, where are you from, and you've used up all your knowledge because you're new at learning the language and you just want to stop the conversation because he said something you don't understand or something, and you want to stop the conversation and just let him know, I don't speak much Hebrew even though I just spoke that small conversation with you. So, I don't speak much Hebrew is Ani lo medaber arbe ivrit. If that still doesn't work, then you can ask them, excuse me, what was that? Alright, common phrase in English, common phrase in Hebrew. So, as always, excuse me is slicha, slicha, and what was that is going to be mazeh. So you put it together, slicha mazeh, slicha mazeh. Alright? I really like this next one. This next one is for people who taught themselves the language and you're really good at written work. So you're studying out of a book, like maybe one of the Teach Yourself series or something, and you do a lot of reading. You do a lot of listening to, but if you're really good at reading the script, then you might want to ask them to write down what they're trying to say so you can read it and then say, oh, okay. So, bevachasha ketov et zeh. So the next one is going to be, can you translate this for me? This one is very useful if you're in Israel, say, and someone gave you a note, like meet me here or something, and you don't know what it says, or you're in a market and you need to read a label on something, then you can ask them, can you translate this for me? This was also featured in the video, and it cost Caden the Awesome Kid some mad change. So can you translate this for me is Tuhal letargem et ze bishvili. And then if you have something longer that you want them to translate for you, then you can ask, what is this, what is that? Pointing to what you're asking. Or, again, if you're in a coffee shop or something, you can just say, what is this, what is that? Maybe reading a menu, something like that. So, what is this? Mazot omoret. Mazot omoret. What does this mean? Next, we have my very favorite communication difficulty phrase. If you have a convenient phrase book, like Caden the Awesome Kid, or the one I have right here, it's basically a book filled with common Hebrew phrases and words. So, if you bring one of these with you somewhere, small enough to fit in your back pocket, or if you're a girl, you can put it in your purse, something like that. So, if you have one of these, and you're speaking to a native speaker, you can't understand what they're saying, or it's important and you need to know, you can ask them to point to the phrase in this book. So basically it works like this. You ask them, can you point to the phrase in this book? You give the book to them. They read the book. They find the Hebrew of what they want to say. Oh! You look at the phrase, find the English, and understand what they're saying. Simple as that. So the phrase for, can you point to the phrase in this book for me, is Bevachasha Areliet Habtui Bisefer. And then if you say something and you're not sure if they understood or not, they give you a funny face like, or like this. Do you understand? You say this by saying, Ata mevin? Ata mevin? And then judging off the looks they just gave you, they're going to respond, Ani lo mevin. And then you're going to say to them, well, Ani mevin. No, truly, don't say that. Don't say that. Hopefully, they'll respond, Ani mevin. But if they don't understand, just repeat it. Don't be a jerk. Alright, so that concludes today's learning lesson. This was communication difficulties. If you guys have any questions, post a comment below. And as always, I would love to get feedback on my accent, because last communication difficulties video, it wasn't me actually saying the words. If you want to correct Kate and the Awesome Kid's accent, then go ahead. I bet he would have fun reading those comments. But for this video, as always, I would love to hear back from you guys. And stay tuned. We're going to have more Hebrew videos coming at you. Thanks for watching.